So you bought the Mardu Surge Precon and you took out Neriv like I asked you to. And now you're trying to figure out, what the hell do I do with him? Hey there, welcome to another episode of Separate Ways, where we take a Precon commander that I did not choose to use in a Precon upgrade and instead made a deck around him. The assumption is that you do not have the original deck that the commander came from anymore, as you've already taken that deck and upgraded it into whatever path you are choosing to do, and you are left with just the commander itself, and you want to know, how do you play with this deck? These decks will always be $20 to $30, and they will try to be as strong as humanly possible within that design space. And today's commander is Neriv Crackling Vanguard. Neriv Crackling Vanguard is a Mardu and 2 Dragon commander with Flying, Death Touch, a token production ability when it drops onto the battlefield, and an Impulse Draw ability whenever it swings, with the ability to use those cards any turn that you have dealt damage with your commander, or attacked with your commander specifically. Now, this card is a very uniquely designed piece of cardboard. The reason I say that is we've only ever had 2 commanders that have cared about differently named tokens in the game. There's been this and Gimbal during the March of the Machines precon, so it's cool to see this design space expanded a bit. Now, we have to ask ourselves, what is this deck trying to do? It's wanting to spawn uniquely named tokens for card advantage, but we need to be able to win the game with those uniquely named tokens. The original version of this deck focused a lot on combat stuff and anthems and lording, and so for this version of the deck, I do want to focus on that a little bit, but I still want to have a decent burn package in here as well. So let's talk about that. Because we have a commander that does not care about our stuff dying as much, let's make sure that our burn package reflects that with Impact Tremor style effects, like, well, Impact Tremors. Creature touches our battlefield, every opponent burns for 1. Witty Roastmaster and Molten Gatekeeper do the same thing, and Mirkwood Bats does this whenever a token touches the battlefield or when we sacrifice a token. So all we have to do is simply create tokens for these to do their work, and I think these are all going to be overperformers in a deck like this. Now, we do want to have a little bit of that combat stuff as well, because we are swinging with our commander in order to make things work. So let's also add in a few anthems. Intangible Virtue gives our tokens 1/1 and Vigilance. Inspiring Leader gives our commander the ability to give them 2/2 as well. Nahiri's Resolve. Holy shit. This thing goes nuts in this deck, giving our creatures 1/0 in haste and allowing us to flicker our commander every single turn. This is insane. Nahiri blinks our commander away at the end of our turn, and then at the beginning of our next turn, it will spawn our commander again, spawning the tokens again. This thing, I'm surprised this price has not shot up for this. I guess people are not thinking about this when thinking about the commander. Marshal's Anthem gives us a revive effect and the ability to give all our creatures 1/1. Dramatic Finale gives us 1/1 for all of our creatures and the ability to replace our non-token creatures with 2/1 Inkling tokens that have flying. Commander's Insignia came in the precon, gives you 1/1 for every single time our commander has been cast. Then we have On Wings of Gold from the previous season's precons. This gives all of our creature tokens 1/1 and flying. This is great. Holy shit. I'm glad this is not the like $8 that it was when it came out. It can fit in a deck at this $30 budget range. Then we have Starlight Spectacular. This is basically a easier and harder to track version of Cathar's Crusade. At the beginning of combat on our turn, we choose creatures we control 1 at a time until each creature has been chosen. Each of those creatures get 1/1 until end of turn for each creature chosen before it. So if we have 5 creatures, creature 1 gets 0/0, creature 2 gets 1/1, creature 3 gets 2/2, creature 4 gets 3/3, and so on. So if you have a board with, let's say, a reasonably just built token board of 10 creatures, then this card will be responsible for adding 45 damage to that board. That is a lot for 4 mana and having a reasonably small token board. Then we have just this should be able to win most things for you on its own, but let's also try to benefit from the fact that our commander is playing stuff from exile. So let's play a classic Lelia the Blade Reforged. Anytime one or more cards are put into exile from our library and or our graveyard, we get to put a 1/1 counter on her, and she has Impulse Draw built in as well. So we have her out, we swing at our opponents, our commander spawns, I don't know, 5 cards into exile. Layla is now a 7/7 with haste that we spent 3 mana on, and they're counters, so it's going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. Let's also add in Quintorius Kond. Not only does this have a discover effect to cast things from exile, not only can it create a token, which our deck already wants to do, but whenever we cast a spell from exile, this will burn all of our opponents for 2 and give us 2 life. Pia Nalar, Consul of Revival, is also great, as this will allow us to get tokens anytime we play any of our cards from exile. And then we have Nalshi, and like with the other deck upgrade, I made sure that most of the deck's budget went into Nalshi, a $5 beast demon with the ability to double any spell we cast from exile, which does everything the deck wants to do and more. Let's also add in a Horn of Valhalla to Voltron our way into victory as well, and it can also spawn a ton of tokens. Our commander is going to be a major threat, so let's put a Swiftfoot Boots in here to protect that commander as well. And since we are producing tokens, why don't we go ahead and have a decently combat-focused token production engine? Offspring's Revenge can spawn tokens at the beginning of combat, making a 1/1 haster that is a copy of something that was in our graveyard. March of the Canonized makes white vampire creature tokens and then spawns us extra tokens every single time our turn begins if we have the right set of parameters met. Then we have Zerium Golden Wind, which will spawn us a Griffin token anytime it deals combat damage to an opponent. Loyal Apprentice will make a Thopter token whenever we enter our combat. Magda the Horde Master, whenever we commit a crime, create a tapped treasure token, and this ability happens only once per turn, but we can sack 3 treasure tokens in order to make a 4/4 red Scorpion Dragon with haste, which, by the way, is a unique token compared to a red dragon token. Emeria Angel gets to go back into this version of the deck, as the 1/1 white birds are differently named tokens we care about. Baron Bertram Greywater making 1/1 black vampire rogues is also fantastic and is uniquely different to the vampire creature tokens made by March of the Canonized. Dreadfast Demon, oh boy, this thing is a powerhouse in this deck. At the beginning of our end step, sack a non-demon creature, so one of our tokens. Then create a token that is a copy of Dreadfast Demon when we do. So we end our turn sacking a token, we have 2 Dreadfast Demons. And on our next turn, we sack 2 tokens and we have 4 Dreadfast Demons. Then 8 Dreadfast Demons. As long as we are keeping up with token production, we get a crap ton of 6/6 flying token creatures. Skylight Vanguard can make 1/1 white soldier tokens every time she swings, and Felon of the Third Path can create a token that's a copy of any creature in our graveyard, giving it haste and throwing it at our opponent. These should create enough uniquely named tokens that we will be in a good spot all game. This deck, as of right now, can create 30 uniquely named tokens, so let's go ahead and make sure that we are using them to the best of their ability. And our commander already impulse draws us a lot, but let's talk about our draw engine anyway. We're going to be running a 9-card draw engine, and every single one of these cards either benefits from token production or produces us tokens by itself. Quarrel's End makes a 1/1 human soldier token while also giving us the Thrill of Possibility discard draw effect. Caesar Legion's Emperor can make red and white soldier tokens and also gives us draw and also has burn. He just does everything. Glimpse the Impossible Impulse draws us 3 cards, and if we choose not to use those cards, they then become Eldrazi tokens. Fanatical Offering sacks one of our tokens to make a map token. Idol of Oblivion draws us a card every turn we've made a token. Pirate's Pillage seize the spoils and big score. Discard a card, draw 2 cards, and then make treasure tokens. And Teysa Opulent Oligarch says at the beginning of our end step, we get to investigate making clue tokens for every opponent who lost life this turn. Whenever a clue we control is put into a graveyard, we then get to make another token, a black and white creature token that is a spirit. So this is spawning us 2 different types of tokens that our commander wants to see. So these should not only let us power through our deck, but they are doing every single thing that our deck is wanting to do. That said, let's go ahead and talk about the next section, which is the stuff that stops our opponents from playing Magic the Gathering fairly. Same song as the last. This is our removal section, and where we can help it, we want our removal to make tokens. So let's go ahead and play Bovine Intervention. Blow up an artifact or a creature, and then its controller makes a White Ox token. We can use this to also increase the amount of tokens that we have if we want to throw it at ourselves. Sunder the Gateway blows up a artifact or enchantment and also makes us an Incubate token. Banishing Slash makes us a Samurai token while also blowing up an artifact, enchantment, or creature. A Braid blows up an artifact or a creature. Stroke of Midnight blows up damn near anything. Rakdos Charm blows up an artifact, a graveyard, or, makes another token player cry. Overseer of the Damned blows up a creature and then makes black zombie tokens anytime our opponents have creatures that die. Wake of the Dragon is really funny. It's a 6/6 black and red dragon creature token, and not only does the token have menace, but if it deals combat damage to an opponent, we gain control of an artifact they control, so we get their soul rings, basically. Then we have Rankle and Torbrand, which can make treasure tokens, make everybody sacrifice a creature, and increase the burn that our deck can do, just basically threefold. He does everything on his own. He is fantastic. Let's also have a couple of board wipes in here. Crisis of Conscience to either blow up all tokens or all non-land non-tokens, depending on what we need. And then we have Blood Money, which blows up all creatures and then gives us a treasure token for each creature that we blew up with it, meaning we can rebuild quickly and we will at least have 1 to 2 uniquely named tokens even after everything has gone away. And that really does it for our removal. That should keep our opponents just not able to do a whole hell of a lot. Let's talk about ramping into all this fun stuff. Now, it probably goes without saying, but a lot of our ramp really needs to be making tokens, but let's go over some of the cards that don't. Worn Powerstone just makes us 2 mana, and then Honored Heirloom makes us 1 mana, and then allows us to get rid of things in graveyards. Charitable Levy replaces itself after 3 spells have been cast, and also draws us a card, and also gets us a Plains. Now for the stuff that makes tokens. Patron of the Art, Young Red Dragon, and Rapacious Dragon all make us tokens when we cast them. The Young Red Dragon only gives us the token whenever we cast its Bathe in Gold ability, but that's fine. Swashbuckler Extraordinaire also makes us a treasure token whenever we play it. We can also sack treasure tokens to give our commander double strike. Ganex Astral Hunter makes us a treasure token anytime it or another dragon, like our commander, touches the battlefield, and Diamond Pickaxe makes us a treasure token every time we swing with our commander, as long as it's equipped with this pickaxe. Then we have the Decadent Dragon, which makes a treasure token every time it attacks and also can steal cards from our opponent if we so choose. Now, that really is it for our deck's ramp package, but we're not done talking about mana. We got 4 mountains, 5 plains, and 3 swamps, with our Boros lands being Temple of Triumph, Sacred Peaks, Fury Comp Snarl, Sunscorched Divide, and Clifftop Retreat. All of these are here because they either come into play untapped or, like Temple, can be used early game to give us a good bit of hand sculpting, or Sacred Peaks can be grabbed with Charitable Levy. Our Orzhov dual lands, Temple of Silence, same argument as the Temple of before. Sunlit Marsh, same argument as our Sunscorched Divide from before. It's a plain swamp. Then we have Shine, Shadow Snarl, and Tainted Field for our untapped Orzhov lands. Our untapped Rakdos lands are Temple of Malice, Tainted Peak, Foreboding Ruins, and Shadow Blood Ridge. Then our fetching lands, we have a lot of them, actually. Escape, Tunnel, Terramorphic Expanse, and Evolving Wilds are all the same card. Promising Vein, Shire Terrace, and Shattered Landscape are all able to be mana or sack themselves 4 mana, and then Myriad Landscape can be used to get us 2 land types to ramp us. Our Omni lands are going to be Command Tower and Exotic Orchard, with our utility lands being Dwarven Mine to create dwarf tokens, Volatile Fault to blow up non-basic lands and make treasure tokens, Castle Ardenvale to make human tokens, Kerkeep to make Kerkeep Kobold tokens, Windbrisk Heights to freely cast spells for swinging with lots of cards, and Spinerock Knoll to freely cast spells for hurting our opponents with lots of violence. And that does it for all the deck's mana. We should be able to get through everything we need because we have a pretty robust mana section, but let's go ahead and give the deck a shot in a gameplay section. Now, while this opening hand doesn't have any ramp, I am still somewhat confident in it because it does have a Molten Gatekeeper, a removal spell, and a March with the Canonized, which we'll be able to use pretty well. So let's go ahead and keep it and see how we do. Let's draw our opening card. It's a Loyal Apprentice. Let's play the Shattered Landscape and crack it in order to get a mountain out of our library, and then pass to our opponents. Moving into the next turn, we have a Horn of Valhalla, which we could play early for soldiers, but not doing us a whole lot of good. Let's pay 2 mana and get the Loyal Apprentice out, and it can't make us a token yet, but that is fine. Moving into turn 3, we have Nahiri's Resolve. This, I wish we could play it a turn before our commander, but we can't, so let's go ahead and play a Swamp. And let's just continue setup with our Molten Gatekeeper. Moving into the next turn, and we have a Decadent Dragon, and unfortunately, we are missing a land drop. But it's not the end of the world. We are just going to use the Decadent Dragon, throw it into exile, to steal 2 cards from our opponents in order to get a land drop from them. So we have a land token. Let's just say it's black, because that's going to be one of the most common colors that is played. We've yanked a land from our opponents. Woo. Moving into the next turn, we have our Command Tower, and let's go ahead and tap everything out to play our Commander. That burns our opponents for 1 with our Molten Gatekeeper, and then our Loyal Apprentice is going to make us a token as well. So let's go ahead and make, where's the Thopter token? There we go. We make a Thopter token, and then we get to make 2 Goblin tokens. There we are. 2 Goblin tokens made. Our opponents burn for 1, 2, 3. Molten Gatekeeper has dealt a total of 12 damage across all of our opponents now. Moving into the next turn, we have Felden, which we really would like to have. But instead, I think the move is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and play Nahiri's Resolve and swing with Neriv. We go into combat, making a Thopter token, and then swinging 1, 2 Thopters. And let's swing one of the goblins so we can keep the uniquely named goblin. We have 2 uniquely named cards, so let's throw those into exile for casting later. Then, at the end of the turn, we are going to blink. How many can we get rid of? Any number. 1, 2, 3. Get blinked away. We have the Goblin token for blocking if we need it. Then we go into our turn 7. We get to blink all of these back onto the board with haste. And that means 1, 2, 3 from the Molten Gatekeeper. Well, 2 from the Molten Gatekeeper, and then 2 more Goblins are made. Let's see here. I wish we had found... we can't really do what I want to do. We just make Rankle and Torbrand? Be funny, right? It makes a treasure token, but only when it deals combat damage. 4, 5. Let's play the Rankle and Torbrand. And let's go ahead and swing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're making a Thopter token when we do. All right. When this deals combat damage to a player or battle, we get to make every player create a treasure token. We get to make every player sacrifice a creature. So we're going to make everybody sacrifice a goblin. And then if a source deals damage, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. So we're going to layer it so that we get our treasure token. Well, we have to. It's in sequential order, unfortunately. So we're going to make the treasure token. They're going to not burn, and then that will happen. Man, I wish we could capitalize on the Rankle and Torbrand ability right now, but we just can't. We get extra damage from the Thopters punching. That's fine, I guess. Our commander swings as well. So we at least had 2 uniquely named tokens, and we missed a land drop in those. 40 lands. We're still missing land drops. Feels fantastic. So we enter the end of our turn. Let's blink all of these away. Our Molten Gatekeeper has dealt 9 damage. We would like to see more damage come out from it. We get to go into turn 8. We draw a Banishing Slash. 1, 2, 3, 4. We burn for 3. We spawn 2 tokens. We burn for 2 more. Okay. Seize the Spoils would be good to dig through our deck a little bit. I think the move is just swinging out with everything to spawn some token. So let's go ahead and we spawn the Thopter when we enter combat. Burns our opponents for 1. Rankle and Torbrand is going to do his thing. Sack, burn, treasure, and then the commander is going to see 1, 2, 3. How have we missed a land drop for 10 cards? How has that happened? That's wacky. That's wild. Anyway, I guess that means we can cast our cards. I think the correct one to cast at this point is the Mirkwood Bats. Like, as much as it sucks to get it out like this, it is the correct move. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's play the Mirkwood Bats. And then we'll pay 1, 2, 3. Getting rid of the treasures, burning our opponents for 2. Spawning the Patron of the Arts, burning them for 1. Creating a treasure token, burning them for another 1. And it's not damage, right? It's loss of life, so Rankle and Torbrand doesn't benefit from that either. Unfortunate. And then when we end our turn, we get to blink away all of these. I guess we can win the game on the next turn. It's not the end of the world. It's just not how I would have liked this to go. Like, missing land drops for 10 cards hurts. And I bet you the next card is a land, right? It's not even a land. All right, we're gonna... all these drop back onto the battlefield. Brought back in thanks to the power of Nahiri's Resolve and Friendship. We get to spawn a treasure token because of Patron of the Arts. That will burn our opponents for 1. And 5 extra creatures enter the battlefield, burning our opponents for even more. We have 3 uniquely named tokens. Let's go ahead. Let's just go for the win. Fuck it. 1, 2, burns our opponents for 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We cast Horn of Valhalla, creating X white soldier creature tokens. So we're going to go ahead and get that human soldier out. Boop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because these soldier creature tokens were all created, that means we... oh, sorry, I messed up. Our opponents have lost 4 more life because of the goblin creature tokens entering because of our commander. We make 5 tokens. Our Molten Gatekeeper sees that, burning our opponents for 5. Our Mirkwood Bat sees that, burning our opponents for 5 as well. They have taken 41 damage total, and we are going to enter combat. Neriv is going to swing. Rankle is going to swing. Everything is going to swing because it doesn't matter anymore. If any of these die, Mirkwood Bat sees them, and they all hit for extra damage because of Rankle and Torbrand. So, yeah, they're all swinging. We're spawning extra Thopter. They burn for 2 more. Our commander is going to see 1, 2, 3 cards. Hey, we finally found a land we get to play at the end of the turn. That's fantastic. So, yeah, we get to make all of these, and they die. Our opponents just died. That's just where we are at right now. If any of these were to die, we can do the math on it. Like, let's say, for instance, these die. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Our opponents would burn for 16 life. So that would be 16 times 3. I'm not doing math today, but that looks like 48 damage to me. And Rankle did increase the damage all these would do to our players by 4. So, or by 2. And Nahiri increased it by 1, so if any of these hit our opponents, they're taking 4 each as well. That's a lot of math. I'm not doing the math. That's enough from me. That's a lot of damage. And even though the deck didn't do it the way I wanted to, because we missed land drop after land drop after land drop, we still got there, so I'm okay with that. If you are upgrading this deck, Starry-Eyed Skyrider can definitely be an interesting include, giving our tokens who otherwise would not have flying, and, well, it's not even that much mana to get this thing out. Let's also add in a couple of other upgrades to here as well. I really think the deck benefits a ton from a Lightning Greaves, as Lightning Greaves gives our commander haste and protection, and our commander is a bit of a slow runner to begin with. As far as uniquely made tokens, though, Dragon Master Outcast makes Durgans, Bitter Blossom makes Fairies, Bonehard Dragosaur makes Dinosaurs, Skrelb's Hide makes Phyrexian Mites, and Ophiomancer makes Black Snakes, and these all make make tokens effectively on your upkeep, which means you get these all the time, repeated even after things like board wipes. You can still rebuild using cards like this. The biggest upgrade of all, though, would be a War Leader's Call, giving your creatures 1/1 and the Impact Tremors effect. This is a fantastic way to basically double the power of a deck like this. When you have this out, not only are you giving your tokens a giant anthem that they benefit from, but you are also guaranteeing that even without combat, your deck is going to be doing its thing and harming your opponents very, very, very well. I think this thing does a lot of work, and if there was one other thing that you could experiment with, I know it's my channel. I'm very, very likely to suggest these things, but maybe consider the initiative in your deck. And I know you're going to tell me to stop throwing it in every deck. I understand you've got all kinds of options for the initiative in Mardu, but hear me out. If you are in the Undercity, in here, we have the ability to create not only treasure tokens, but 4/1 black skeleton tokens, and to be able to freely drop down creatures from our deck as well, all by going down the right side of the Undercity. 2 uniquely named tokens being able to be shat out of this is fantastic and well worth the include if you're willing to deal with the fact that you are in fact shoving initiative into another deck that maybe does not need it, but it doesn't matter whether or not it needs it. It just matters if you want to put it in. And I personally would try to find a way to shove it in because it just seems like such a fun thing. But I love initiative. I am very biased, but playing initiative with a blink engine in this deck feels like a really fun thing to do. You know, that's just me. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video with like a $50 version of the deck running this teleportation circle, conjurer's closet, and all kinds of stuff. Maybe we'll definitely do that. Maybe that's a thing happening in our future. Who knows? Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck tech, going our separate ways on another commander. That all said, if you have not already, please consider checking out my streams over on YouTube and Twitch. They happen Monday through Thursday fairly consistently. I also have a politics channel if you want to talk about important shit happening around your area. We also have a Fourth Wall shop and a Patreon if you want to support me directly. And I also have a Blue Sky if you would like to support me over there, following and hearing me rant about shit that matters to me. I also have a Magic the Gathering channel. I know you're on the Magic the Gathering channel right now, but I have this channel here if you want to go ahead and subscribe so that you can see my content generally Monday through Friday. As always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and insert end of video tagline here. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I really could not do any of this without all of you. Those of you watching, and especially those of you who support me on Patreon. I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to thank all of you who do that, because with YouTube being what it is these days, I really cannot do this full time without the support from each and every one of you. Those people would be Red Joker, Purple Poundini, Jemshin, Blitzkrieg, Jupe the Malignant, Michael, Ravalern, Mabbity Babbity, Astral Frontier, Tales of Atonement, Nixie Chan, Kiri Artemis, Victorian Alchemist, I'm not saying the last part of that, and you know that, Leela Uraraka, Arcton Arclacier, Kiratorian, Dren Hadamata, Jordan M, John L, Lord Bleck, Smiling Game Master, and Fire Shard. Thank you so very much. But since you're here, why not go ahead and try watching another one? There should be one that's on the screen right now. And if you are a patron of mine, I wanted to go ahead and thank you again for all of your support. There is still a video you could press though, if you'd like. I would appreciate it just a little bit.